Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 6 of the Gig Sessions Lunchtime Talk. Today's guests are by far some of the biggest road warriors in the touring circuit. Today we have Big Al, who tours as Big Al in the heavyweights, and Doug Deming, who tours as Doug Deming in the jewel tones. In 1993, Big Al started the Unknown Blues Band with founding members Warren Haynes, and they toured the highway for many years under this entity. The heavyweights soon took main stage, and Big Al has been touring relentlessly for years under this name. The band's passion lies in so many musical styles, from blues to rock, zydeco to jazz, and even country. Welcome, Al.
Howdy, howdy. How's everything?
Fabulous. Now let's bring on Doug. Doug Deming is originally from Detroit, Michigan, where he now calls Florida home. 4 albums under his belt since 2002, with his 2018 release Complicated Mess appearing on the U.S. blues charts. I like to call Doug the Johnny Cash of the blues. Welcome, Doug.
I do.
So, yep, everybody's at home, and here we are, and this is why we are doing this. Part of it's selfish for me because I don't know if I get to see you guys play this year. So if anything, just a moment to have a talk and say hello to each other.
Sounds good. We're glad to be here.
Glad to be with you. Glad to be with you both. It's been too long, Al. Hope you're well.
I know. We haven't seen each other. I can't even think of the last time. It's been so long. But it's been a while.
It's been a while. I remember the first time, though, in East Tawas, Michigan, at that East Tawas Blues Fest.
Wow.
That was the first
crazy. Dang. That has been a while.
in a few years, my friend.
I'm impressed.
How was that?
Probably 95, 6.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I must be old.
Well,
That goes for both of us.
then I'm going to start with you, Doug, because one of my questions for you is, what age were you when you started touring?
When I started touring, I was a little later than probably most people think. I was in my late 20s. I think I was 27. I really didn't start my first band until 21. Being a white kid from the suburbs in Detroit made it, with no musicians in my family, no one close to me. It was, being the black sheep of the family and wanting to be a musician there was just no background. There was no role model, no anything. So, I mean, it was, I was, brave and new territory. So it took me quite a few years to get some real traction. And then my group finally started backing up some notable musicians, in my area, Alberta Adams and Lazy Lester and Johnny Yard Dog Jones. And that's when I started touring. At first, it was behind, some other notable artists. And, that got my feet wet and eventually started my own program while still backing other folks when, the occasion called for it.
That's awesome. And Al, I kind of have a similar question for you, but I'm going to the fact that you're a singing drummer, and I can imagine before you had your own entity that you were kind of in demand. So did you get a lot of gigs because you were a singing drummer?
No, I am not really a singing drummer. And I'm just mainly a drummer, but I did used to sing some back then. I just found out as I got older that there were people that could sing a whole lot better than me. So I just decided I was just going to play drums and be me.
And I get that. I understand that. And so how old were you when you started your own thing?
I was definitely in my late 20s. And, and I know Doug remembers this guy. One of my very first gigs, my 2 first gigs out on the road, I played Huntsville, Alabama at a place called the Coffee Clutch, and Rock Hilo got me in there, great songwriter. from Nashville that knew the people that had the coffee plotch. And then my next gig was at Skipper's Smokehouse, and Rock Bottom got me in there. In fact, we played with Rock Bottom at Skipper's Smokehouse, and that was the very first time I ever played Skipper's. That's how long ago.
And Skipper's has been around a long time.
Right. And I'm still playing there. And I'm still making the same amount of money.
Yeah, that's a person we ought to bring in, Tom White. Ask him that question. Why? No.
No, he's a great guy and a great friend. I can't thank him enough, really.
He has been an awesome client for sure for many years.
Yeah, that's a person we ought to bring in, Tom White. Ask him that question. Why?
So tell me, Al, how did you meet Warren Haynes, and how did you guys come to start the Unknown Blues?
Well, I was playing in David Allen Coe's band. We were in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It was around Christmas time, and David's backing band left in the middle of the night because they all wanted to go back to Texas for Christmas. So he rehearsed in a garage at Harold Mader's house in Baton Rouge, and I said, "Who's going to be the guitar player?" And they said, "We're flying a guy in from North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina," and that was Warren Haynes. And he had been playing in a band called Ricochet. And so me and Warren started playing on the road with David, and we discovered a mutual interest in music and blues and stuff. And we said, well, we need to be doing something when David's not on the road. And that's how we started the Unknown Blues Band.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm going to ask if someone's got their Facebook streaming to cut it off, because there's like a 15-minute lag and you can hear it, or 15-second lag. Crazy. Yeah, I grew up watching Warren Haynes, and I don't think I ever really realized that he was somewhat of a local boy, because I didn't know at that time he called Asheville home. But, you know, you see a guy like Warren Haynes and you immediately think, New York City. How can he be from North Carolina?
I mean, honestly, he was a country boy, you know, when I met him. And he was just loved Dwayne Allman. And we would talk about the Dead, you know, because I was a Dead fan. And he said, man, them guys can't sing, and the guitars sound like they're out of tune. But he became a huge, great, you know, big thing with the Grateful Dead fans. And
he was one of the leaders of the other one.
Exactly. I mean, you know, he played Jerry's guitar all across America.
Oh, was that Jerry's guitar?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, when Warren was doing the symphony things in towns, he would like sit in with the symphony in Denver at Red Rocks. He played Jerry's guitar at that.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, Jerry's daughter gave him the guitar to play on that tour.
That's nice.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah, so that's how I met Warren.
So, Doug, you hail from Detroit, but you live in Florida. Which place would you call home now?
I don't think he can hear you.
Did you hear me?
He doesn't have any audio. He doesn't have any audio now.
Uh-oh. Did we lose you, Doug?
Think so.
We lost you, Doug. Huh. Let's see, maybe. Are you there, Doug? Hello, hello.
I see him.
Well, let's start here while we figure this out. So tell us a good road story, Al. I know you got 100 of them. What's the first one?
Okay, sure. Well, you know, David, this is a good David Allen Coe story. And me and Warren were playing in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and it was extremely, extremely hot. And David likes the air conditioning off. He doesn't want the air conditioning blowing on him. And Warren, being from the mountains of North Carolina, was not used to the heat and humidity of the South in Florida. So we're playing in Fort Lauderdale at a place called Club Dallas, and I look over, and Warren is hitting the ground. His knees are buckling, and he goes down. Well, the heat had got to him, and they had to bring him backstage and cool him down. And at that time, David was making us wear big, heavy black blazers and cowboy hats. And it was, of course, it wasn't funny when he went down, but David runs up to him and says, Warren, what's wrong? Are you okay? And he said, you stupid blank. Why in the heck would anybody want the air conditioning off? I'll never forget that. And but everywhere we played, David would make them turn their air conditioners off because he said it would mess with his throat. And I can understand that in a way. But being an old South Louisiana boy, the heat really never bothered me. Like Doug, I know we used to playing outside in the heat, especially now. All the gigs are outside.
And you are, I mean, both of you are in a space where, well, no, that's not true. Your area is starting to close down again, Al. But you, Doug, you're in a space where things are opening. Are you playing a lot?
I'm playing a handful of gigs. Yes. Honest truth, we're torn whether we should or we shouldn't. But we've got a handful of gigs, and the gigs that we chose to do are outside, and they are practicing social distancing. A lot of them are taking temperatures of people as they come in the door. So, our local government, I don't think they're going to shut us down. But there are certain people that are out there that are doing it, but doing it safely. So that's where we're taking our gigs.
And so you're finding that the promoters are assisting you in giving you safety and sanity and those
things. The best they can. It's not easy for anybody right now. And I've certainly, I certainly wouldn't want to be in their shoes either. But they're doing the best they can, and we're making a go of it as safely as possible.
And are most wearing masks?
In the last week or so, I've seen a big increase. Obviously, I'm in Florida, and our numbers have been skyrocketing. And since then, I've noticed a lot more masks. And at the gigs, people are walking in with masks, taking them off to eat, definitely putting them back on to dance, and putting them on to leave or go to the bathroom. There seems to be more responsible behavior than we could do.
Wow. And that is the scary place for all of us to be. I mean, I get, I'm so grateful that the government allowed a lot of us to get some help with unemployment that we would have never gotten.
Yeah.
But I don't see it coming back at the end of the month when all this runs out. And if there's this second wind they keep speaking of, then going back to work in March 2020 is realistic. And I guess that's just where we all, as artists, agents, managers, are going to have to really be super creative in how to move forward for everybody. It's selfish to be like, we have to work, but how to build the environment until everyone feels safe again.
It's not easy. Like we played last night in Sandestin, and at an outside show, and it was all. I mean, there were some people with masks, some people weren't, but it was almost like a normal gig. It made you really miss what was the real thing. But it really felt good. A lot of people came out. They had circles painted in the grass where people could stand 6 feet apart. It was great, and and that's what we need to have more of, is events like that. I noticed they're having concerts at drive-ins. Galactic is putting on a show in New Orleans at a drive-in. And I've also seen some blues societies sponsoring gigs at drive-ins. So, I mean, that's the way of the future. I won't play inside right now. I just don't think it's wise to play inside of a bar. And I love to work. I should be working right now. This is my busy time of year. I want to be on the road. I like being on the road, like Doug. But it's just I don't like playing inside right now. And I think everybody can be creative enough, because a lot of venues in Louisiana, especially in its area, created a stage outside so people could play outside and be safe. Then they came along and decided last week they're going to shut the bars down, and that hurt. I'm gonna tell you.
And they did that last week.
Yeah, last week they shut the bars. They shut down Monday. My next gig is in Mississippi. I think on July the 24th, and it's an outside thing. She created a stage outside so bands could keep playing, and so she could stay open. But I'm not going to be able to do that in Louisiana for at least 2 weeks until they open the bars up. But I can go to Mississippi or Alabama and go to Alabama. I can go to Florida. I mean, most of the time I'm in the Panhandle. I run down South Florida in November. Hopefully that all still happens. But it's once you get used to doing this and it's summertime, man, you're itching. I want to play. I hated coming home last night. I want to stay back out on the road. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you, Al. Summertime's touring time for us too. It's lower season in southern Florida, and it's the time for us to hit the road. And just my whole summer canceled. I'm fortunate to be able to have a few gigs around here. So outdoor, our bar shut down also 2 weeks ago. After opening, they were closed back down, but the restaurant is great. So we're doing some restaurant gigs, mostly outside, also all outside. Actually. And like I said, I think we're going to be at this level for a while, and I agree with you. I think we need to be able to do what we do and figure out a way to do it safely, so we can keep rolling and still take care of each other and let me get through this. Because I don't think it's gonna be something that changes here for a little while.
And
well, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, who are you listening to? And both kind of, the good, the bad, the indifferent. We kind of all have had to face that. Yeah, it's interesting because, as the agent, I'm busy making sure everything's getting to 2021 and sort of accepting this idea that, we've all nestled into being unemployed for the year, per se, lack of bad words. And so, how do we prepare for a second wind and really be creative in how we're going to continue what you guys do? There's a lot of folks have brought up we could create a campaign and we could do a mass campaign. But, that's so controversial and it's such a personal decision. And music has always been about the freedom to be. So it's been interesting hearing, like you said, Doug, being indifferent to do you or don't you. But the reality is we kind of all have to.
Yeah.
And that's the part I hope, that not trying to be like a chosen one, but as they're rethinking this second phase of a stimulus, that, they are thinking about the demographics that are going to be the most hit by this. We were the first to go away and we're going to be the last to come back.
No doubt about that.
Hey, Paul, glad you're here. And yes, we do hope to see you on the road soon. So what have you been doing with your free time? What did you get done that you said you were going to do, and how many years did it sit there before you did it?
After you, Al.
Oh, well, in my free time?
Well, I know you've had a lot of that, so yeah.
I got a 16-year-old boy. You know, I started late in life, so I got a 16-year-old boy living with me. My son Albert 3, and he usually goes on the road with me because, but of course we ain't doing that now. So we've been taking care of the chickens. We raise chickens, and we got a big old garden outside, and our dog Sage and our lovely little cat London. So we spend a little more time with them and cooking stuff around the house. But you know, I always have something to do. I don't, when people say they're bored, I'm going like, huh? Huh? You know, I'm bored because I can't play music and be on the road. That's what I'm bored about. But I can find plenty of stuff to do at home.
So how about you, Doug?
You know, it's really about the same. I mean, everybody's got that honey-do list that gets longer and longer and longer. And you prioritize, this project's going to be, you know, 2 weeks, and I can't do that because it's season. And so I attacked some pretty big projects. Did some tree trimming and rebuilt the fence and cleaned out a garage and stayed busy, but I caught a lot of fish.
Yay. Yay. That's what I wanted to hear, that you're using that boat you don't get to use very often. And now,
yeah, well, you know, I can honestly say, as much as I love to work and I love to play music and really to be with my fellows, because, you know, I'm just so incredibly blessed to have, you know, really good people in my band as well as great musicians. The lifestyle that I led pre-coronavirus was pretty stressful. Honestly, I spent a lot of plates, and there's a lot of stress and a lot of worry, and I have to admit that I did enjoy the lower stress lifestyle for a while. I'm ready to go back to work, but the lower stress lifestyle was not so bad. Not so bad.
and I hope that's what a lot of us take away from this moment, is realizing that maybe we made our lives too stressful. You know, we're all in such a competitive field, and we're all competing for each other every day, that, you know, you get caught up in that, and it does create a lot of stress, and it makes you work hours that are pointless because you're doing the same thing you did that wasn't working, but you're just trying. And so hopefully we'll all come out of this with more time, because we'll learn how to be more efficient and maybe find, I don't know anyone in music that has a personal work balance. And I would want that for all of us. And hopefully this downtime has taught us, you know, that sometimes it's okay to say no, to plan 3 days with the family in the woods, or, you know, camping on the lake, or whatever it is. And I think that has been the consistent that's come out of these lunchtime talks, is realizing that, you know, we do want to do things differently when we can figure this out. You know, obviously our priority right now is how to do what we do and be safe for everybody. But hopefully in the future it will be, you know, that work-life balance.
It would help. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I don't know in the music business how you ultimately do that, because I fear that once the grind starts again, we're all going to go back to normal. But, you know, yeah, well, I've enjoyed having my Thursdays and Fridays off, you know. I mean, I can't, there would be no feasible way to figure out how to continue that, you know. But you might hear that I'm taking Fridays off. I am contemplating that one.
Well, we, you know, being musicians, we can't take Fridays off, right, Doug? We got to be playing.
No, we can't. And Al, you know exactly what I mean when I say, as a musician, especially a band leader, you're just a hustler. If you don't hustle every day, it doesn't get done. And you know, you might think you have a day off, and that phone rings. All of a sudden, you're back at work.
Yep.
That's it.
Because there's 3 other people counting on you to make a living.
Amen.
That's the pressure.
A big responsibility. That is a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. Are we making enough money? Are we going to be busy enough?
Yep.
You got to hustle. I got to hustle. Everybody's got to hustle every day to put all the A, B's, and C's together, get back out on the road, and make it all work again.
Yep. Yep. You can look at your calendar and say, I'm going to make my bills. My friends are going to make their bills or not, and it's on you to make that happen.
Yeah.
It's some pressure.
Definitely.
So, Doug, these dates that you're doing right now, are they dates that were on your calendar, or it is such as it opened and the phone rang?
You know, they were not on my calendar previously. When you know, Florida again books very seasonally, and you know, that I read they basically book the first half of the year and then the second half of the year. And the dates that I had for the first half of the year all went away in March when everything started happening. So no one really booked in general. So when things started opening up, everyone had wide open calendars. So instead of booking 3-4 months in advance, I'm booking 3-4 weeks in advance. Because now, as people are tiptoeing back into, you know, this program. So yeah, it's a strange new scenario, and you know, just going with it and you know, make do with one day at a time.
Yeah. So is your wife working, or is she affected by this as well?
She's been very affected by it as well. Her business is sales, and like music, that really requires a lot of people to get together and go to the sale. So she actually has a sale this weekend, first week of March, and you know, it's basically in a home and inviting the public in to, you know, buy items. So she's going to require math, you know, 6 or 8 people in the house at a time. And it's an experiment for her also to, you know, try to help her clients who need that and you know, need the whole house liquidation, but still try to remain fiscally responsible and get some work and pay some bills. So it's been pretty quiet around here for sure. But you know, like I said, our numbers are skyrocketing. However, we are trying to move forward.
Yeah, and I'm a part of the same thing you are. Not quite the rate that you guys are skyrocketing, but South Carolina certainly is doubling. I think they said last Wednesday that it was starting to go down and maintain. And that's the part that none of us know, because, you know, a lot of those numbers are the fact that the testing is available, and they've not been really clear as to, you know, are those people that have had it and gotten over it, or are these really accurate current numbers? And that's, you know, where some of us believe it all to be as it is, and some believe it's a controversy and all about the election, and we will soon find out.
Yeah. Well, November's not far away, right?
That's all I can say is please vote. Please.
Yeah, and in November, and the quicker November comes and goes, you know what? We'll have an answer to all that real quick.
I know.
Because if it just all of a sudden just goes away after the election, you go, what was up with, like, you know?
And then if that happens, then all of this money that the government has just covered for us as citizens, we should bill to Trump directly. Just saying.
Well, I tell you, I'm not a scientist. None of us are scientists. I sure don't want to catch it, and we do everything possible to stay safe. But at the same time, I want to work. Doug wants to work. Tina wants to work. We hate being shut down. It's very, very frustrating. You know, especially like after you get a good taste of it last night, and so many people come out and they're so excited about the music and they're having a great time, and you're going like after it's done, what's next? You know, but there really isn't another next for a while. It's almost a week to week thing.
Yeah.
You really can't plan way out, you know, like it was before. It's almost like a week to week thing, it seems like to me. So
It's kind of like where we all started in our careers, where it moves really slowly and you get a lot of no's or I'm not sure, or, and then, you know, so I look at it as if that's truly the case, then this is the perfect moment to reinvent the things that weren't working. And we've all got that, you know. As I had someone say, it's hard to clear your mind when you're processing the same way every day, day in and day out. And when that's stripped from you, you get to start seeing and thinking differently. Yeah, for me, I am bored, Al, and I'm not a person that's bored because I've always got something to do. But it's like that something to do isn't appealing because I'm in that space. I want to mope. I want to be
right,
not working and be in that space where, you know, have that realization of, you know, how does this move forward and how do we all stay in this business?
right.
You know, because the reality for you guys, you can live stream and there's that, you know, ability. But from the business front, a little more difficult.
Yeah. The live stream isn't the same though. I mean, you know, I mean, we just did that thing at the Botanic Garden, Washington D.C. That live stream, and we were so looking forward to going to Washington D.C. because I mean, I love the East Coast. I mean, I just love the area, and the people there just love this kind of music, and it's so cool. And so I was really looking forward to going to Washington D.C. And you know, it was great to have the virtual live stream and everything like that, but it's it's just not the, you know. It doesn't give you that excitement.
No, without that, the live bodies in the room, and the energy and the feedback, it's not
right.
It's something. And
It's something.
It's better than nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, there's nothing like, you know, even the minutest of feedback when you can see that person in the corner who doesn't look like they're really listening, but you see that toe tapping up and down, and you go, yeah, you're listening. You're not showing it, but you're down.
You're getting it.
Yep. It's sometimes it's the subtle things that really make mine. And you know, live stream just it doesn't have that same use.
Well, that was our first virtual thing I've ever done in my life. You know, I've just figured out what the word virtual means now.
And you're right. I mean, there's the perfect example of having to rethink really quickly, and technology is not my friend, you know. It does.
No.
They teach me it will do.
Well, when Tina first said we were going to do this thing for Washington D.C. and we were going to do it virtually, I went and got a friend of mine and said, "Hey, you think you make this happen? Because I'm not sure what she's talking about." And I just gave him the paper. Here you go. This is how they want it. He goes, "All right, come to my backyard. We got a stage back here. We'll make you virtual."
That was a backyard stage.
Yeah, he had a stage in his backyard. Oh, this is London.
Hello, London.
London. She loves to be there.
Do you have any animals, Doug?
I've got a cat running around here somewhere named Tia after one of my favorite singers,
That's cute.
I think she's out sunning herself right now.
That is one reason this downtime is awesome. I went from a 1-dog owner to a 3-dog owner. I don't know what I was thinking. I used to think people who had 3 dogs were crazy, so I guess I'm now crazy. And they're 8 months old, and they chew everything they can find. And but they're going to be awesome dogs. I'm gonna love them. I love them now, but they're going to be better when they're older.
Oh, I know.
So, does your kitty like the chickens?
What?
Does your kitty like the chickens?
No, the kitty stays inside. The kitty stays away from the chickens. I got a hunting dog called Sage, and she likes the chickens. So we built a pen up in the air for the chickens, so Sage can't play with the chickens anymore. Because I lost a couple of chickens that were really young when Sage figured out how to get into the chicken cage, and that's just her nature. She's a hunting dog, and after she did away with the chickens, she brought me one a day to the doorstep, like how proud she was of what she did. Can you believe that?
Yes,
That is her nature.
that's her.
Yeah. And I couldn't really get mad at her because she was doing what she was doing.
So you built a chicken coop in the air?
Yep. I'll send you a picture of it.
Please do.
Yeah. I mean, it's on stilts is what it is. It's up on stilts, so she can't get into the chicken coop.
Huh. Yeah, my animals love the chickens. They herd them. They like them. They think they are supposed to protect them. And sadly, we lost one today. I guess the guy
no.
had the big egg, didn't survive. And I'm sad because it's the chicken I loved the most, of course.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh no.
But we didn't know how old they were, so it really could have just been old age.
Problem.
They came as twins, and the twin has kind of stopped laying, so it's highly possible they're at their prime.
Yeah, when they stop laying, it's usually not much longer.
Right,
They're like 5 years, maybe a little bit longer.
right. And the goal really, I mean, the goal is like when that happens, not to just have to bury it, but to find a way to cook it. And I hear that you can put them in a pressure cooker and do it, like you would meat all day, and then it becomes tender.
Yeah, I've never been. I saw my great aunt do it one time, and I said I would never do that.
Well, I'm relying on Roger on this one, because it ain't going to be me plucking no feathers.
She picked the chicken up and wrung its neck, and then stuck it in a big old thing of hot water, defeathered it. I didn't even want to eat it after that.
Well, remember, I'm trying to become a homesteader, so I got to use all the resources and can't bury good meat.
You got a point there.
So, Doug, tell us a good road story, because I know, like Al, you got some good ones.
Oh, I got to think of which one's appropriate, though. That's the real deal. So,
James, if you have to.
Well, the most memorable one of late was last summer. We were on the road in my van, which at the time had just under 400,000 miles, and we were in the Chicago area, and I felt the transmission slipping just a little bit more than normal, and I was concerned about it. It was a Saturday evening gig. It wasn't a night gig. It was a little festival at a horse riding club in a western suburb of Chicago. So we were done relatively early, and we had a 3 o'clock in the afternoon gig the next day in Cleveland, downtown Cleveland. So it's a pretty good ride, and we thought, well, we're done early. I think we're done, wrapped up by 8 or 8:30. So, and we didn't have hotel rooms there, so we decided we're going to get Smiles in, early enough. Al, I'm sure you know the program. So we figured, we could get 3-4 hours in on the road that evening, and find a place along the turnpike to crash and finish the drive the next day, and be ready for a 3 o'clock start in Cleveland. Be fresh, not have to get up at the crack of dawn. So we we're on the turnpike, and we're getting pretty close, and I feel that transmission start to say, no, I don't feel like going to Cleveland today. We were about 30 minutes out, and it was done. It died. It wouldn't go any further. We pulled over to the side of the road. It was mid-August. It was hot, and there we were on the side of the road, 30 miles from our gig, and so we called a tow truck, and tow truck came and said, well, what garage do you want us to drop you at? And I said, no, take us to this address. And the address was the club, So they pulled the truck up on the wrecker, and we all crowded up into the cab of the wrecker, and off we go. And little does he know, he thinks he's taking us to a garage. So we pull up to the club, and I said, right here, drop us right there, and drop us in the street on the side. The club was on a corner, so main street, side street. We drop us on the side street right next to the club, and we unloaded the gear and played the gig. So we made that gig, and I was wondering if we were going to. And our bass player, Andrew, being mechanic, changed that transmission in the street. The next day, Monday morning, we had a 8 o'clock start in Buffalo Monday night. Now, Buffalo's only, give or take, 3 hours from Cleveland. And took them all day. We helped as much as we could, but we changed that transmission out with help from a lot of friends. We had a friend that lent us some tools. We had a friend that put us up. A friend that drove and picked up the junkyard transmission. I mean, a lot of things came together. I'm really lucky that the breakdown happened in Cleveland, because we've got a lot of great friends in Cleveland that really looked out for us. But it all came together. He had that car back home 5 p.m. and we jumped in the car. And we busted our rear end straight to Buffalo. We started up to Buffalo about 30 minutes late, and I just can't imagine that scenario would have come together the way it did. But kudos to Andrew and all of the people that helped us in Cleveland. But that was just last summer. We broke down, completely made a new transmission, and we still worked every night. Didn't miss a beat. Can't believe it.
That's the road angels, I call them. It's those little road angels on the road with you all. I love that.
Yeah,
that's a great story.
Yeah.
Wow. And you said your bass player is a mechanic, and he did it?
Andrew, yeah.
Wow.
Yep. We got under there, and we got friends that lent us a transmission jack to help lift that heavy thing up and down, and we changing the transmission. I am no mechanic, but I know that's a huge job for someone in a garage with a proper lift. He did it on the ground in the street next to the club.
My man Roger would respect that. He is a mechanic and a car man and restores old cars. And he had a couple of customers last year. He'll do an engine, but he won't do a transmission.
I understand now. Right.
So for the fact that Andrew did that in the street with, tools that got it done is impressive.
borrowed tools, junkyard transmission. And I can honestly say it got us through the rest of the tour. I did one more little 2-week run after that tour, and then we brought it home and we shut our touring down for the winter. I mean, we're in Florida. There's no reason to leave. In the off season, we're here, and I'm still driving the thing. I promised myself and Andrew that I would have a new van before the next touring season, but unfortunately, we don't have a touring season right now. So,
do you see Zach's comment on the screen?
Zach, Yeah. I think Zach woke up about 2, 3 in the afternoon that day. Sometimes, it's really important to know what you can do to help. Sometimes it's really important to know the best help you can give is to stay out of the way.
Yep.
And,
Changing the transmission would be let the guy calling the shots tell you how you can help.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a fisherman, and sometimes it's important to know what days to stay off the water and just cut your grass.
There you go.
Zach says you're telling fake news.
Fake news. This was supposed to be 4. I don't know. I was trying to cut my man some slack.
And maybe that's what we should be doing with the gig sessions is just, cubbied up with all kinds of fake stories and creating our own whatever. Why not? Seems to be a lot of that out there.
There's enough crazy stuff that actually happened. We don't need to make anything up.
No, I hear that. People think it's fake. I'm riding around with 471 miles on my van right now.
Yeah.
So how do you drive? What is your van? Chevy or Ford?
It's a Ford. That's all I've ever used. I'll be honest. And but I am definitely partial to Ford vans. I've had one ever since I started in this business, and this is a V10, and I love that V10 engine. And I'm looking for one right now to replace it with because I got 471 on this one. It's fine. It's running fine. I don't want to wait till it blows up like I've always done.
Yeah.
I want to replace.
Somewhere in Montana.
Right. I mean, we've all been through that. But this is a real good quick story. We're playing at the Maple Leaf in New Orleans. Our first time at the Maple Leaf. And you know where the Maple Leaf is, Tina. You've been in New Orleans plenty of times. And the radiator goes out. And a buddy of mine was there that I went to high school with who happened to be a mechanic. He went and got a radiator for us at his shop. Just lucky enough, it worked in the Ford van. He put the radiator in my van. After the Maple Leaf gig, we took off because we were living in Nashville then. We took off to Nashville because we were opening up for Ray Charles the next night at a place called the Cockeyed Camel. I will never forget that story the rest of my life because we were like, oh, no, we're never going to make it to open up for Ray Charles. But my buddy David Gambino from Gambino's Foreign Cars, right there in front of the Maple Leaf, put me a new radiator in, and we left as soon as we got done at 3 o'clock in the morning in the Maple Leaf because the gig goes from 11 to 3, and we made it to Nashville to open up for Ray Charles.
That's awesome.
So,
just opening for Ray Charles is awesome.
I know.
It was. And you know what? You know what I got to see of Ray Charles besides him being on the stage? Of course, I'm hanging around backstage like, oh, I can't wait to shake his hand. They brought him in under a raincoat and brought him to the stage, and they took him out under a raincoat. You didn't get to see any of them. No hanging out, no talking, no any of that stuff. But it was incredible. I'll never forget it. And I know why he still is the legend that he is. I've never heard anybody play and sing like that. And this was a band of some of his guys and people from Nashville blended into his band and his 3 backup singers. It was incredible.
Wow.
That's my van story and Ray Charles story combined.
So our dear friend Mark Thompson is here with us today, and he wants you to tell us about your Swamp Cop TV series.
Okay. Well, so everyone knows it's not my thing at all. This happened last year also in early June. We had a series of gigs lined up through South Florida with little Charlie Beatty as our special guest for the did a 4 night stretch, and we flew Charlie in, and I'll thank Mark for that, because it's something we talked about, but he kind of gave us the push we needed to just make it happen, so thank you, Mark. And the Swamp Cop story was Charlie's. The whole thing was Charlie's idea, and God rest his soul. I love him to death. But we just, we had a lot of time in the car rolling around from gig to gig. We drove from our area in Bradenton. Our first gig was down in Boca at the Funky Biscuit. So we, 4 hours in the car, chit chat, getting catching up with everything. And he started to talk about this. I don't know if it was going to be a movie or a TV show or a mini series that he wanted to base us to base on us and our experience, and he referred to it as Swamp Cop. And he gave everybody in our immediate area a character for this, and I was the Swamp Cop, and I believe Mark was the sheriff, and he just had this whole elaborate scheme for this TV show based around all of us South Florida musician characters, but we were now a police force solving crimes in the Everglades. It didn't go much further than that, but every once in a while, we would, until his untimely passing, we would hear from Charlie, and he'd have another little anecdote that he wanted to add to the Swamp Cop story.
That's great.
Not anything we've actually ever discussed publicly with anybody, so this is maybe the first time some people are hearing about it. But it was a great gag and something to pass the time and really great.
That's why we love Mark Thompson. He's a motivator and a poker.
I'll call him an instigator.
And he's not an instigator at all.
No,
not at all. Have you met Mark Thompson, Big Al?
No, I haven't. I might have met him, just forgot.
He was the president of the Tampa. No.
Well, before that, Rockland, Illinois.
What?
He was
Rockford, Illinois.
Right. Started in Illinois and then got involved with the Suncoast. He was president.
Okay. Well, you know what? I probably met him like 1,000 times. It's just I'm great with faces, but I'm horrible with names.
But you should know him from reading reviews, because he writes a lot of reviews for various publications.
Oh, wow.
Blues Music Magazine, and the Blues Blast. He's written for a lot of folks, record reviews and blues book reviews. He's a man about town. Mark.
Well, I probably have met him and just don't recall the name. Shame on me.
That's okay.
Yeah, you'll remember when you meet him for sure. He's good people.
Yeah.
There you go.
Good people. So yeah, I really, really appreciate you guys joining me today. Like I said, it's getting a little daunting doing nothing in the office. So it's always nice to have these moments and say hello to the people I love the most.
Well, we thank you.
We sure do. Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Yeah. Do you have any end comments for your fans, your future? What would you like to say as we head out?
Well, I just would say I got to say a big thanks to the folks from Music Cares and Keeping the Blues Alive and Joe Bonamassa and Sean. They've been extremely generous and kind. And I think if anything came out of all this is that you see there are great, generous people still left in this world who care about others, who genuinely care. These are people that don't have to do any of this stuff, but they did. And I can't thank them enough. They've been great, and I take my hat off to them. And this was my first chance to thank them in a format like this. So, yes, that's what I have to end with. Thanks for all the generosity and all the kind words from everyone. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll second that. Both me personally and the band members all got some help from music players. I'm actually from the Blues Foundation also. It's really a heartfelt thank you to those guys for going above and beyond and taking care of the musicians that need it the most. And I just like to say to everybody, be safe. It's a crazy world out there. I think I just read this morning that the CDC predicts that if we all be safe and wear masks and do the right thing, that in 4 to 6 weeks we can get our numbers back to respectable and we all just got to pull together and do the right thing and we should do it for each other. It's that's the important thing. I think a lot of selfish behavior has really been what's driven up our numbers here in Florida. People are sick of doing that inside thinking online. If everybody were to pull together and think about their neighbors and do the right thing, that we can get through this together a lot quicker.
And if we're talking about it being our freedoms, we owe the right to do this together and not wait for some government to mandate something.
Exactly. It's not about
we don't need that.
caring about other people.
Right. I mean, that new best friend I've never met, I want to meet that person.
When people mandate things, people tend not to do them because it's been mandated.
Right.
It's like, I'll show you attitude. But remember, 2 great things. Today, for the first time, the numbers in New York City went down and Walt Disney World opened. That's got to be a positive sign.
And they are social distancing. I've been really impressed with what I've read about how they've opened that park.
Well, you know what? It's because when I saw that it was going to open up and that the numbers went down in New York City, there's got to be something to it. So that's the way I'm looking at it.
Oh, thank you guys for doing your part to be safe in this, and look forward to getting back on the phone and talking gigs. But for the minute, it's been awesome to have a personal minute of your time.
Great to see you both. Please stay well, and let's do this again soon.
Definitely. You guys
take care. I'm coming down to Florida in November. Give me some gigs.
Come see us.
Bye, guys.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye.
We really, really appreciate you guys being here. This has been an adventure through these gig sessions. I feel so terrible that I don't have my list with me to tell you who is next week. I apologize. So yeah, see you next week, 2 p.m. and you guys take care. Bye-bye.